We'll begin with a small prayer. Om Gyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, in this fifth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna talks about a very important principle in it's a unifying principle. It's an inclusive principle. Today also we talk about inclusion and exclusion concepts, but those concepts are perfectly explained by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. The real inclusion is including Krishna in our life. Minus Krishna, Prabhupada says everything is minus in life. You add Krishna, then everything is addition. You subtract Krishna, everything gets subtracted. It's a simple one-line understanding of Krishna consciousness. And we are seeing that. When God is in our life, it's the center of our life, everything is fine. Everybody is happy. Everybody is satisfied. Just like there's a famous saying, even today people desire Rama Rajya because of Lord Rama's perfect ruling. Similarly, when Lord Rama, Lord Krishna is the center of our life, then everyone will desire that kind of life. But when there is no Rama Rajya or Krishna Rajya, then there is no satisfaction. There is dissension, there is disagreement, 100%. Just like there's a saying, if there is no boss, then there could be multiple decisions and then the company will collapse. There must be one person who is the decision maker, who's the boss, who's the chairman, who's the owner. Things are in place. Everything should get converged to him. That converging point, what Bhagavad Gita is saying is Krishna, the Supreme Lord. But everything should converge into one. Then that is perfect administration, perfect society, perfect country, perfect management. There could be different thoughts and ways, but everything should coincide, converge in Krishna, should conclude in Krishna consciousness, conclude towards Krishna consciousness. That is perfect. Krishna conscious management. So, in this fifth chapter, it's called Karma Yoga or action in Krishna consciousness. The most important thing we should know is, first of all, laziness is not encouraged. Either in material life or even in spiritual life. Spiritual life is not a life of retirement. Spiritual life is a life of real positive engagement. Working with intelligence. Working productively. Productive to the Atma's future. And working towards the eternal future. Just like we have this planning commission. They plan for the next 10 years, 20 years. Exactly like that, Bhagavad Gita is teaching us to plan for our eternal life. Now, how do we do that? That program is Krishna consciousness. The theory is there in the Bhagavad Gita, and the application the Acharyas give us. What program we should have every day. and plan our life to make it a beautiful life. And that is the Bhagavad Gita. How to make our life beautiful and not mess up. So today, without Krishna consciousness, everything is getting disturbed. So, how we can work in this world in Krishna consciousness is what is the subject of this chapter. How to work in divine consciousness. Whatever you do, there must be a divine touch to it. Otherwise, we avoid that activity. It binds us to this world. But when you do an activity which is offered to God, concerning God, or which can be dovetailed, connected towards God, then that is a purified action. That's called purified action. And there is no reaction for such activities. So, in Karma Yoga, we understand who the Lord is. Prabhupada says, to work in Krishna consciousness is to work in complete knowledge of the Lord as the predominator. Such work is not different from transcendental knowledge. This is a very important point. When we work in Krishna consciousness, it could be any kind of work. You could be an engineer, a doctor, a chartered accountant, student, housewife, a worker, doesn't matter, a politician or a devotee. But in the background, if you have this complete knowledge that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, I am his servant, the Lord is the master of everything, the predominator, and then with that consciousness you work, then that is perfect Krishna consciousness. So you're working in perfect transcendental knowledge. We should always remember our relationship with God in all our activities. If you forget that, then the activities lose its connection with God. Then it brings you karma. Very simple criterion. When you involve Krishna in your activity and offer the results of that activity to Krishna, while doing the activity, you should be Krishna conscious. And at the end of the act, you offer the result to Krishna, it is karma free. But you separate Krishna and karma, only karma remains, you are bound to enjoy or suffer the result. But eventually, as I discussed earlier, it is always predominantly suffering, challenging and painful. Where life is simply filled with pains. And sometimes when the pain is reduced, we take it as happiness, which is wrong definition of happiness. Happiness has nothing to do with pain. So that is possible in Krishna consciousness. So Krishna is saying how we can work in this world and be very peaceful. How we can make this world a nice place to live by introducing or permeating or flooding the whole world with Krishna consciousness. Today, what is permeated is hatred, dislike, dissension, disagreement, quarrel. These are the vibrations, politics, favoritism, diplomacy, nepotism, etc., etc. This is what is permeated across everywhere. Self-centeredness, personal ambitions, personal goals. You see? So this is what is dominating everywhere. So therefore, it's not very desirable. So what Bhagavad Gita is saying, within a family there is so much of disagreement. Kali Yuga, the word Kali literally means quarrel, disagreement. Kali Yuga means age of quarrel, disagreement and hypocrisy. Three things you should know. You see, the very age we are living is so It's not very conducive for spiritual life. By nature, the period which we are now living is filled with disagreement, quarrel, and hypocrisy. And we see that in all the transactions. And even within one's family, there is disagreement, there is quarrel. And within a society, obviously, within a district, state, country, nation to nation, there is disagreement, there is quarrel, there is discontentment to very big extent. Is it? Why this discontentment, resentment, disagreement, dissidence, why all these things are happening? Something fundamentally we are missing. And that Krishna tries to point out in the Bhagavad Gita. Because without these things, there's no possibility of peace. People talk about world peace. In family, there is no peace. Within yourself, there is no peace. We are so disturbed. Individually, mentally, people are so disturbed. So they're so tired mentally. And we all have experienced it. So even within oneself, they are lacking peace. And if I lack peace, how can I exhibit or manifest peace? And how can I bring about peace with others? Not possible, isn't it? Have you experienced this? Let me tell you. We all have this experience. Just like, suppose a disturbed day. For some reason, you went to the office, maybe boss fired you that day, shouted at you. Something you didn't complete the project, or you didn't meet the deadlines, or the productivity is not up to the mark, the efficiency is not up to the mark, whatever. You got fired that day. Then you come to the house. You'll be very disturbed mood, angry mood, isn't it? Can you give a peaceful experience to the family that day? No. So that comes out involuntarily. Your mind, what it is going through, will come out in the dealings. It will come out in the dealings, isn't it? Or sometimes we have also seen at house some fight with the family members. You come to the office, you will fire all your assistants, your co-workers, your team members. We've experienced it, isn't it? So the point is, when you're disturbed, you yourself are lacking peace. How can you bring about peace? You are dissatisfied, discontented. Can you bring about contentment in the other person? Can you bring about satisfaction in the other person? Not possible. If I lack, how can I give? If I have 1 lakh, I can give you 1 lakh. But if I have 10 rupees, how can I give you 1 lakh? Got it? So exactly like that. If I lack these divine qualities, peace, inner happiness, how can I give it to the world? Think about it. So therefore we are seeing there are a lot of resolutions but no solutions. Big peace conferences are going on with all good intention. Big resolutions but no solutions. That is the position today. So much so that all over the world there is unrest all over the world. Country to country there is fear. From an individual up to a country, and at the world level, there is fear, anxiety. What will happen tomorrow? Who is going to throw a bomb? You see? And we talk about universal brotherhood. We talk about world peace. We talk about universal brotherhood. Very good terms, desirables. But we are not seeing light at the end of the day. Universal brotherhood, world peace. Nothing has happened till date. Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of Iskcon movement, He said, whenever I went in front of I passed by in front of the United Nations, every time I had seen the number of flags increase with a lot of concern. What does this indicate? Number of flags increasing. It means dissension, disagreement, separation, not unification. You see? Why separation? Disagreement, discontentment, dissatisfaction. I don't agree to your proposal, to your idea. My way, there's a saying in English. What is that? A famous saying, my way or highway. So that's the policy. Even from a family up to the country, my way or highway. You're not able to accommodate everyone. Share. That concept of sharing, concept of accommodating, concept of give and take. Let's sacrifice for my fellow brother, fellow sister, fellow poor animal. It's not there. So a lot of self-centeredness and selfishness is dominating our life. Unsaid. Unsaid. All in the name of policies. Sometimes we make it so much, this selfishness, self-centeredness is increased and multiplied to such an extent that it becomes a policy of a country also. Trade policies, foreign exchange policies, bilateral relations. Everywhere we can see the reflection of selfishness of an individual or a community or a state or a country. When sometimes there are conclaves of different countries, and when that happens, different countries represent their needs. At the end of the meeting, every country is thinking, what did I or we benefit from this meeting? You see? So finally, either it is individual selfishness or extended selfishness. All the same. There's no difference. There's no difference. You can't say that I'm not selfish for myself, I'm selfish for my family, for my country. No. The whole world belongs to God. We're all God's children. It's only a question of sharing, not to the cost of others. And that is the cause of all dissatisfaction. Everybody is interested in himself, not in others. So therefore, there is a negative energy, negative vibration. We don't feel that warmthness in a family, in a state, in a country, country to country. The nature, human, animal trio. There's no sync. There's no sync. Human beings are constantly exploiting nature and the animal society, non-human society. Constantly we're exploiting everything for our individual benefit. So how can we be peaceful? Unless you share. So Lord Krishna reveals the peace formula, as Srila Prabhupada calls it. The peace formula according to Bhagavad Gita. In chapter number 5, text number 29 is the last verse of this chapter. In Karma Yoga, Krishna concludes by this verse. Giving peace a chance. You see? We're giving chance to everything, right? Why don't you give peace a chance? And try out and see. But that peace, as given by, directed by, instructed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, the famous peace formula. Bhoktaram yagda tapasa sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutana gyatva mam shantim richati. Krishna is saying, how can one bring about universal peace? World peace. How can one bring about? So Krishna says, there are three truths which one should accept. And if you even accept it, have this knowledge alone, it will instill or bring about world peace. immediately. What are those three P's formulae? The first thing Krishna says, Bhoktanam Yajna Tapasa. Krishna is saying, one should know that I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices and works and all hard work, of all efforts. I am the enjoyer. Bhokta, Ram, Yajna Tapasa. Then, that's the first one. The second one, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. That Krishna is saying to Arjuna, I am the proprietor of all the planets and the Lord of all the planets. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. The second thing. The third piece formula is Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. I am the best well-wishing friend of every living being in this world. The sincere well-wishing friend of every living being in this world. Gyatva, if one knows this, Ma, about me, if one knows these three truths about me, and my connection with this world and with the people in this world, with the living beings in this world, then Shantim Vrichati, he will attain lasting peace. So Prabhupada translates, the sages, knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods. Krishna is also the Lord of all the Devatas, 33 crore Devatas are there. So Krishna is the Lord and Master of all of them also. The Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. Knowing me as such, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. You see? Yesterday we talked about suffering and problems. Krishna is saying, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. All miseries are material, not spiritual. That's another important point. In spiritual life, there is no misery. When you become self-realized, when you become fully developed in your Krishna consciousness, there is no misery whatsoever. Only in the bodily concept of life. When you are not awaken your Krishna consciousness, there is misery. Otherwise, there is no misery to the soul. The spirit soul is ever joyful. He is a personality of Ananda. There is no misery in the soul. The misery is because of our contact with this world. So, when we realize these three truths, Krishna is saying, you will become peaceful from all the sufferings, material miseries. Now, let us understand these three things a little bit, what Krishna is saying. So, I am the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities. Now, everybody is working, and the intention of all those works is the impetus for working, and the intention of working is I will enjoy the fruit. I am going to get the fruit or the result of that work. Therefore, there is impetus. As there is a saying in English, proprietorship turns sand into gold. Right? So when there is no ownership, there is no interest. When there is ownership, there is a lot of interest. So everybody is working with that idea of ownership of that work. You have to own your work, as the saying goes. You have to own the work. Then there is interest created. The problem here is everybody is trying to own that work and thinking that work belongs to me. Therefore, the result of that work belongs to me. Everybody wants to claim proprietorship over the work and thereby the result of that work also onto himself. Now, this is a problem. Everybody wants to enjoy the result of that work. How is that possible? So this brings into the idea of multiple centers, the concept of multiple centers. In this world, the problem is there are multiple centers. There is no single center. Therefore, there is clash. Like in geometry, take an example of geometry. Suppose you draw one circle, okay? And then you draw another circle, you draw another circle, you draw another circle individually, okay? Or you draw one circle within the, and then taking a portion of it, one more circle, one more circle. The center for each circle is different. So there will be a clash. But you take the ripple effect, what is called as ripple effect in physics. You drop a stone in a small pond. You will see multiple circles getting created, but the center of all the circles is the same. Right? So many circles get formed. Suppose you drop a stone, just immediate after that, one circle, around that another circle, another circle, another circle, another circle, another circle. You couldn't. So, n number of circles with one common center, there is no clash of that circle, right? But if you draw many circles crossing each other, there is clash. Similarly, if there are many multiple heads, imagine there are multiple chairmen, multiple bosses. How will it work? Too many cooks spoil the broth. Because if there is idea of self-centeredness, my interest comes first. Then his interest comes first. His interest comes first. Her interest comes first. Finally, the company's interest goes for a toss. Right? That's what is happening in life. Everybody is putting forth his interest above everything. In a family, we are putting it like that. In a society, we're putting it like that. In a community and caste, we're putting it like that. In a state, we are putting it like that. Country to country, we're putting it like that. That's how you see there is separation of countries, separation of states. Today, even the states want to become countries. There will be even more and more split as time passes. Because there is no single center to rely on, depend on. There's a perfect center. So what Krishna is saying, revealing the Bhagavad Gita is, that center is Krishna. Having Krishna in our center of our life, you can draw any number of circles, circle of activities, circle of relationships, circle of business, circle of economic policies, circle of trade policies, bilateral relations, keeping Krishna as the center. Family relations, business relations, society relations, community relations, state-to-state connections. Everything becomes perfect with Krishna as the common goal. Everything will remain perfect. No clash. Otherwise, every center wants to get its own quota. They don't give, there's rebellion. We're seeing that. If the state's demands are not fulfilled, there is rebellion. The district's demands are not fulfilled, there is rebellion. If the workers' interest is not met, there is rebellion. Family's interest is not met, there is rebellion. We're seeing that internationally going on. But if you accept a common interest, just like in a company, generally the normal way is if there are 1,000 workers, one boss is there. All the workers work towards the same goal. What if everybody fixes up his own goal? How will the company run? Everybody should be aligned to the same goal of the company. Then the company will flourish, isn't it? United we stand, divided we fall. Joining hands, joining hearts is important. That is possible in Krishna consciousness. Just like why is the family kept together? Just think about it, a common example. Why is a family? In India, there's a family concept of family. In the Western world, unfortunately, there is no family concept at all. They don't even have an idea or an experience, first-hand experience of family. In India, we have that understanding of family. Family is first, then the individual, right? There's a common interest called family. Similarly, when we understand we're all part and parcel of God or Krishna, belong to the family of Krishna, then peace will get a chance. You will share, you will sacrifice. That is give, that is take. Afterwards, from my own family, it is going. So there is no dissatisfaction or frustration. Is it? So, if Krishna is the father of the family, the head of the family, and everybody is part of that family, everybody will naturally cooperate. Okay? So, in a factory, as we all know, this is a boss and everybody works for the boss. There's no individual interest between one department to the other department. There may be 10 departments. The production department, HR department, finance department, maintenance department. So many departments will be there. Distribution line, logistics department. But all of these departments work conjointly for the welfare of the company. Company means boss. Then it will flourish. But if everybody put their interest against the company's interest, the company will collapse, right? Similarly, the state. State's interest is first. Similarly, the country's interest is first. Similarly, the world. But these are all well said. But in reality, unless you make Krishna as the center of every project within a family, community, state, district, state, country, at world level, there will be no common consensus. If the common consensus of the company interest, everything will be in line. If that is not there, 1,000 workers, 1,000 divisions, 1,000 centers instead of one center. So this is the important point. We all know we're working for the common. Just like in a house, there may be 10 people. Each of them are working their own particular role for the family's interest. And all are taking advantage of every other help of every individual in the family. The father may be working, the mother may be doing housework. So everybody is contributing for the common interest of the family. Similarly, if everybody works in Krishna consciousness for Krishna, doing their specific role, then everybody enjoys. This is called spiritual communism, as Prabhupada calls it. Beautiful concept. Today, communist idea is not well appreciated. But actually, the perfection of the communist idea is spiritual communism. Uniting everyone under the banner and umbrella of God consciousness or Krishna consciousness. That is spiritual communism. So if everybody accepts God as that center, there is no clash. There is no clash. You may be Indian, you may be an American, a Christian, a Muslim, a Hindu, a Buddhist. That doesn't make a difference. God is one. Krishna or Vishnu or Christ or Allah or Buddha, God is one. And we all work for that God. Then why you will get your share. Just like a shareholder, you will get your share. You have to be happy. You will get your share. But if you think you are the boss, you are the owner, and everybody thinks they want everything of that quota, then the problem comes. Therefore, Krishna is saying you should know that I am the enjoyer of all the works, hard work, which everybody is performing. You may be a singer, an artist, a poet, whatever, a professional, but the result belongs to God. Suppose a company, which is a multifaceted company. There are too many verticals. This company may have a car industry, car sales, one vertical. We have all food distribution line, one more line. All automobiles, one more line. Textile, one more line. Salt factory, one more line. Multiple verticals, I'd say. But all of these verticals are converging to the owner, right? He may even have a cinema industry. Apparently, he may be a producer, maybe a director. Exactly like that. Whether you're a singer or a writer or a novelist, whatever you are, a poet, a businessman, a student, a family man, a housewife, a worker, non-worker, doesn't make difference. Fine. Every work is offered to Krishna. There's no clash. And we get the prasadam. Just like the company earns all the money, profits, and then the shares are, and it is shared with all the workers. Sometimes bonus is given, and that is also enjoyed some profit. It's an example I'm trying to make us understand. Similarly, Krishna is the owner. All the results go to him, and Krishna gives it back to us. You see, in the world arrangement, there is no shortage of anything. Everything is replete with all material needs and resources, be it food, water, air, unless we middle intervene and spoil the equation. But the Lord's arrangement, this world is complete. Om Purnamada Purnavidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate. The Lord has made a complete arrangement. Even there is overpopulation, there is enough to feed, enough air, enough land, enough food. Only is a question of management, how we divide all these things between one country to the other country. But because of selfishness, selfish policies, there is no sharing. There's no sharing. Everybody wants to be the owner of that work and enjoy himself and exploit others, make others starve. Just like a selfish brother. Food is there, but he hoards the entire food, doesn't give the other brother. Doesn't even inform him, doesn't even share. Even after he has taken his complete meal, he will not share. That selfishness from individual up to the country and the world level, we are seeing that. Because of lack of Krishna consciousness. If you are Krishna conscious, you understand every jiva is part and parcel of God. He is my God brother, God sister. Let me share. Let me share. To my God brother, God sister, let me share one state to the other state, one country to the other country. Suppose I am producing more of rice, the other nation producing more of wheat, then we can share. Or some country, nothing is in production. So why don't we share the excess? Instead of dumping it on the seas and oceans. So much of rice and wheat, just like the western part of India, little outside India, we see they're producing rice, they're producing wheat. And the eastern part of India, the outside of India, they're producing so much of rice, but they throw in the ocean. Why not give to the other country or to India or to any other country? Sometimes in the West, there's so much of food grain production, but they don't consume, so they just throw it in the seas. Why not share it with a country who is starving? Your own neighbor country, your own brother and sister? No. And sometimes there are trade policies, foreign policies. What is the purpose? Ultimately, if it does not serve the purpose and benefit the human being or the animals, what is the benefit of a law or a policy? It is meant to help, not to curtail the joy and happiness and prosperity, not to curtail by tough policies and all these things. It should be made. It should be a friendly policy, human friendly, animal friendly. Just like we say customer friendly. User, just like we say in the software, user friendly. Why we say that? And those softwares sell more. User friendly applications, softwares, they're sold more in the market. Like Android, why is it so popular? Because it is very easy to operate. Then some other softwares and programs is a little complicated to operate. So why don't we make easy policies? Why don't we make intelligent international policies, trade policies, economic policies to help everyone, but we will not. You may say all these things in big meetings, conclaves, but at the end of the day, I will only think of my benefit, my skill, my country, my family, my nation. Is it? Others, we're not concerned. Throw bomb. Let's not supply it. Dump the excess in the sea and ocean. You see? What is this kind of thinking? Why there's no sharing? Because we're all separated. You separate God, everything gets separated. It's called a separatist view according to Bhagavatam. And Krishna is talking about the inclusive view, not separatist view, not exclusive view. We talk about inclusion and exclusion. I talked about it. Krishna consciousness is not exclusion, it is inclusion of everything. So the first thing that Krishna is saying, you understand that all the work and even the sacrifices, even homas, pujas, or even the work and austerities belongs to Krishna is saying, the results should be offered to me and they enjoy. Then I am the Lord of all the planets and demigods. This is another interesting point. Everybody wants to claim proprietorship over land, over assets. But originally it all belonged to God. It all belongs to God. You can take your share as the son or the daughter of the father, but not encroaching upon others' rights to their property and their happiness and their joy, their freedom, their space. You have your freedom, your space, your property, your asset. Your sister and brother also have an equal share. So don't step upon the others' share. So we should know originally everything belongs to God. But God has allocated everyone his quota. Even Upanishad talks and Bhagavad Gita also talks. Tene tektena bhum jita madhula tasasvitanam. Isha vasimidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Krishna says that, sorry, Isha Upanishad says, everything that is created in this world is a proprietorship of God. And we as the children of God have the right to use everything for our need, but not for the greed. And leave the rest for others to use. Why hoard? You can eat 20 chapatis, you eat. But if you can't eat, why do you want to push it into your stomach and have indigestion ultimately? And diarrhea, or stock it, hoard it. Just like the wheat, rice, people hoard, companies hoard. Why not distribute? And then make black market out of that. Create a black market from that hoarding and put the people in trouble, and there is inflation. The common man is bewildered. Why the rate has suddenly risen? Nobody understands because there is hoarding. Although there is enough production, nobody knows the figures, nor is it shared transparently. So all these things are going on. You see? Because of lack of God consciousness. Selfishness dominates, not selflessness. But in Krishna consciousness, selflessness dominates over selfishness. So you should know Krishna is the proprietor of all planets. You can have your home, not an issue. So Krishna consciousness doesn't mean poverty, doesn't mean scarcity, doesn't mean renouncing. No. Krishna consciousness means recognizing the owner, recognizing the predominator, the controller. Krishna. Father is the owner of the house. 5 children, 4 children, 2 children, you can enjoy the house. This room is yours, that room is your sister's, another room your brother's, no issue. Or first floor is yours, second floor is your sister's, it's fine. But the house belongs to the father. This recognition must be there. Similarly, we should know Krishna is the proprietor. Whether it's India or America, neither India is the owner, nor America is the owner, nor Pakistan the owner, nor Australia the owner. The land was there. We come and go. Land is there and then we fight. Just because I walk to a certain place and I mark that point, that becomes mine. How does it become mine? Before you came into this world, the land remains. After you leave the world, the land remains. Then whose it is? Where did the word India come from? Where did the word America come from? Australia come from? Where did that marking come from? We made the markings. As the saying, God created the world and we created borders. That is creating the problem. So much the border fight, so much of border fight. And finally, you will not take 1 cent of land with you when you die. Nor can you claim it next life. Okay, this was my land last life. Can you claim? And then you don't even know whether you will come to this earth again. By your deeds, you may not even get a human birth. You may get into animal species. What happened to the land? What happened to the property you have amassed? Putting others in trouble all the time. And you have to pay for that. Rather, enjoy the land given to you. No issue. Enjoy the property without proprietorship rights. Okay, maybe for practical purpose you may require khata or all these things, RTC is a different thing. But don't harbor that idea of ownership. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj, he said, I'm a caretaker. Yudhishthira Maharaj said in Bhagavad, I'm a caretaker. I'm not the king, the Lord is the owner. The Lord is the owner, I'm just a caretaker. On behalf of the Lord, I'm taking care of this earthly planet and ruling this world. That is perfect consciousness. There's no fighting. Today what is happening is a beautiful story. Prabhupada said, morality among thieves. First of all, you see the contradiction, morality among thieves. First of all, you're saying thieves. Where is morality? Morality among thieves. So Prabhupada said this interesting story. Once there was a group of thieves, about 10 of them in that gang, and then they all stole. Some dacoity happened. They stole the riches. And then when they came back, one of the dacoits is saying, you should divide this stolen riches honestly, equally, without favoritism, politics. You see? Morality among thieves. This is called morality among thieves. First of all, it is stolen property. And then they are saying, morally divided. What is the meaning to that? Got it? Similarly, the world is God's, property is God's, assets is God's, nature, mountains, seas, rivers, vegetation, land, brick, cement, buildings, everything is God's creation. Even your intelligence with which you are, using all these things to produce so many other things. Your own body, your own soul belongs to God. With all the assets given by God, we are doing further developments. Where is your proprietorship? And now we are dividing. This America, you take this India, there is Australia, there is New Zealand, there is Germany, and this and that. There is Russia, there is South Africa. It's fighting going on because of lack of recognition of the owner. Suppose you come to my house and then you claim it is your house. Obviously, it will become a legal case, right? Exactly what is that. How can you be peaceful then? Cannot be peaceful. Suppose you have stolen property, anytime police can come to you, correct? This is what is our life. We are not peaceful because we are not leading a moral life. We are all a kind of, in that sense, thieves, taking the God's property without recognizing God's hands. You can use God's property, there's no issue. We're not saying you should not use, but know who's the owner. You think you're the owner and using it, that's a big problem. But you can use it, recognizing the owner, no problem. Just like you're living in a house, somebody gifted you, no problem. But then you kick out the owner and then you stay, there's a big problem. So, therefore, Krishna is the owner of all the planets. You know this, there is instant peace. All the fighting borders, all the issues will come to an end. Lastly, Krishna is saying, and the benefactor and well-wishing friend of every living being. That's a fact. The Lord is coming with us life after life. He is the best friend, best counselor, best guide, best preceptor. If we take it, you'll be benefited. Krishna is using the word suhrit. There is bandhu, mitra, and suhrit. Suhrit is a superlative degree, well-wishing friend. At all your hard times, difficult times, when Everybody gives up and he is still with you. Therefore, Krishna, God is coming life after life with us, giving us all our facilities and making all the arrangements for our happy living in this world. If at all we take counsel from him, just like we say, parents are well-wishers. So like that, the Lord is the supreme well-wisher. Our parents may be this life, maybe few years, but after that, who's the constant well-wisher with you? It is the Lord. And Krishna is saying that I am your best well-wishing friend for Arjuna. And through Arjuna is communicating to all of us. So, when we're in difficulty, we approach the friend, you can approach the friend Krishna. Then you will become happy. Otherwise, sometimes we see whom I trust so much, suddenly it will hit back. He will hit back. Suddenly there's a legal notice. Whom I trusted so much, my own close partner, my own brother will send a notice. Sometimes today it's very peculiar. Within family, son will send a notice to the father will send a notice to the son. Very peculiar. Supposed to be the well-wishers, but sometimes it goes against. Because the real well-wishing friend is actually the Lord, who always has our interest as primary. Our interest as primary. So that is Krishna kindness. Dasa, dasa, dasa. Just like in conclusion, just like these gopis, the devotees of the Lord, the gopis, they always want to see that Radharani is united with Krishna. They have no interest in uniting with Krishna. They want to make Radharani unite with Krishna. You see, so much sacrifice. They don't want to jump and be the first. But in this world today, we want to be the first in place. Jump, everything for me. So much selfishness, self-centeredness. The whole Krishna kindness is different. Gopis are always telling, no, we don't want to be there. Radharani, please, you go to Krishna. There's a competition of sacrifice. And Radharani, in her turn, she is trying to push the gopis to Krishna. No, you go to Krishna and serve Krishna. And the idea is service, not exploitation. So the whole Gopi Krishna, Radha Krishna, Gopa Krishna Leela is sacrifice, service, not exploitation. And that is love. That is love. There is love, there is sacrifice. So they love Krishna, therefore there is sacrifice. Automatically happen. So in this way, peace can be given a chance. When we accept the universal fatherhood of Krishna, the whole world gets united and then we can share. Just like your brother, your sister, you share your food and your rooms, your property. The father divides in the will, gives, everybody is happy. So like that, then it's possible to attain peace. Otherwise not. So thank you. So I will try to take some questions. There's a lot of competition and strife. What can a person aware of the ideas spoken in this class do to make a difference in the world? Difference begins from you, from me, from an individual. Let me be the change. Let the world not be the change, let me be the change. So I should become Krishna conscious first of all and be convinced about this idea thoroughly and then express that and share it with others. Keep Krishna as the goal of your life, center of your life. When Krishna is the center, everything is for him. And from him, it comes to everybody again. So let me practice this three principles. The Lord is the enjoyer of all sacrifices and austerities, all hard work. Be it material or spiritual, both way is another important point. Not only material work, even spiritual work, the punya, the japam, whatever you do, the seva, let Krishna be the enjoyer of your chanting. You may construct a temple, you may bring 100 devotees, let Krishna be the enjoyer. So spiritually also, materially also, let Krishna be the enjoyer of all the hard work. Krishna, let us preach and propagate this truth that the Lord is the original owner of everything. We are only caretakers. then let us tell the fact that the Lord is the true well-wishing friend, life after life. Without any conditions, the Lord is maintaining us without any conditions. So let's share this and preach vigorously this idea. Preach vigorously this idea. Gita's world peace formula. Chapter 5, text 29. And do our bit to this world. Okay. So thank you so much. Tomorrow we'll meet to know about the 6th chapter keywords. Who's the best yogi? Who's the highest yogi? According to Bhagavad Gita and Lord Krishna. All these problems are solved when you become a yogi. Yogi means one who is advanced in spiritual consciousness. One who is in union with God. He is in sync with the interest of God. Who has made God as his prime objective in life. Not land, not property, not relationship. First is God, then everything connected with God. So such a person is called a yogi, one who unites things with God. Is it? One who unites things with God, and who's the best among them? And what is the most effective way of bringing unity, world unity? That is Krishna consciousness.